In a dramatic twist of events, the FBI has uncovered a shocking revelation at Whoopi Goldberg's estate, leaving even the most veteran agents stunned. What led to the raid on the legendary actress's estate? What lies behind the closed doors? And why has the public not known the truth until today? The evidence discovered has the potential to turn everything we believed we knew about Goldberg on its head. And this is only the beginning. With the break of dawn, the serene neighborhood of Whoopi Goldberg's mansion was suddenly shattered. The serenity of the early morning hours was disrupted by the revving of engines and the sound of hasty footsteps, making the air so tense it could be felt. It was approximately 5 a.m., and the sun had not yet risen. The majority of neighbors were still asleep, except for a few early birds out for their morning walks. Suddenly, a convoy of black SUVs, conspicuously lacking license plates, rolled into the area, moving with an air of authority. Men clad in black suits, bulletproof vests, and dark sunglasses emerged from the vehicles, their expressions unreadable. They quickly surrounded Whoopi Goldberg's estate, closing off all doors and refusing anyone to go in or out. Then there were the heavy knocks on the door. Bang, bang, bang! The knocking reverberated through the quiet of the morning with no softness or hesitation. This was no courtesy call. This was a raid. Somebody inside the mansion moved. A flicker of light came from the upstairs window, indicating that the homeowner was now awake. The large wooden door groaned open, and out stepped Whoopi Goldberg, a woman whose name is heard throughout the United States, having had her ups and downs in Hollywood, but never finding herself in a predicament like this. Although awakened from slumber, Whoopi kept her usual calm. Wearing a light gray robe, her hair flowing naturally, she looked over the agents on her doorstep. Her eyes were not filled with fear, but surprise and a touch of confusion. "What's going on?" she demanded, her voice firm but sharp. One of the agents moved forward, showing an FBI badge before taking out a file from a black briefcase. "We have a search warrant. This is a federal investigation." That announcement dropped like a bombshell in the early morning fog. The moment the door creaked open, the agents poured in, securing the interior of the mansion. Intrigued neighbors started to congregate, whispering to each other. Who would have believed? Whoopi Goldberg, a middle-aged woman, shook her head in amazement. "She's a big star. How could she be working with the FBI?" Another whispered. The rumor only increased the tension. Reporters, having heard about the drama unfolding, soon arrived, cameras held high to catch every detail. Local officers were sent in to control the crowd, placing barricades in front of onlookers to keep them back. The glint of camera flashes lit the scene, reflecting off the FBI cars and painting a madcap but cinematic ambience. In contrast, within the lavish mansion, a precise search was taking place. Agents went in groups, each being assigned certain duties. They combed every room, searched every drawer, and investigated every book on the shelves, leaving no aspect uninvestigated. Whoopi was in the living room, standing with arms crossed, eyes staring at the agents as they searched through her possessions. She knew one thing: the FBI didn't show up at her doorstep for no reason. But the question of why still lingered. Why? What had prompted them to suspect her? An agent appeared, staring at her. "Would you like us to call your lawyer?" he asked. Whoopi took a deep breath and nodded. "I think that's the right thing to do." Nobody knew exactly what the FBI was looking for, but this much was certain: they had a very serious reason for making this raid. Some of the agents, in white gloves, opened a drawer in Whoopi's private library, a room filled with significant papers, scripts, contracts, and personal letters that had been gathered over the years. One of the agents pulled out a pile of documents, carefully leafing through each page. At the same time, another group ventured into the basement, an infrequently accessed space packed with old dusty boxes. One of the agents suddenly shouted, "I think we found something." The entire FBI team instantly gathered. They unearthed a locked metal box from a hidden corner, untouched for years. Whoopi, observing from a distance, squinted. "I've never seen that box before," she remarked slowly. The agents exchanged glances, swiftly taking the box outside. They did not open it immediately, but sealed it carefully and transferred it to a specialized vehicle. After hours of investigation, the FBI finally left the mansion, leaving a maelstrom of unanswered questions and a Hollywood star in limbo. The crowd outside started to disperse, but the gossip persisted. Newspaper headlines blazed. FBI raids Whoopi Goldberg's house. What's going on? Secrets in Whoopi's mansion. What did the FBI discover? The whole country was left in suspense, but only the people who took part in the investigation knew what was going on. And that truth could have changed everything. Whoopi Goldberg was used to controversy. One of Hollywood's most recognizable stars, she had endured countless highs and lows, from cinematic milestones to fierce criticism for her outspoken opinions. But this time the stakes were altogether different. This was not just a TV debate or a critical magazine article. The FBI was not involved because of inflammatory remarks. They were making a serious inquiry. The raid at Whoopi Goldberg's home was not an impulsive action. Law enforcement authorities are aware that the FBI does not conduct a search warrant on mere whims. It leaves us wondering then for how long they were watching Whoopi. From multiple insider sources, it is reported that the FBI had been monitoring the actress for months. The nature of their investigation was not clear, but one thing was certain: this was no small case. Federal agencies don't waste their time on inconsequential cases. If they had served a search warrant, they felt something really serious was going on. But the most pressing question lingered. What had made Whoopi Goldberg a target? Some legal experts speculated that this could be a financial investigation. In recent years, numerous celebrities had faced legal repercussions for tax evasion or dubious business dealings. But if this were just about a tax case, why were the FBI seemingly so on edge? Why were they sending a heavily armed task force to visit an elderly woman who is simply an actress? Was there perhaps something more fearful at stake here? Over her long career, Whoopi Goldberg had been the subject of severe public scrutiny. She never hesitated to express her views, even if it meant inviting controversy. Her combative arguments on The View, where she was co-host for so many years, had attracted praise as well as criticism. However, in all her history of controversies, Whoopi had never faced a career threat as major as this. As news of the raid filtered out, social media was flooded with rumors. Reddit, Twitter, and TikTok platforms buzzed with articles about Whoopi Goldberg. While some thought that it was a case of a simple misunderstanding, others fabricated theories of an FBI conspiracy. The press jumped on the story, spewing out sensationalized headlines. Hollywood Reels, FBI raid, Whoopi Goldberg's home. What's up? One of America's finest actresses in the crosshairs. The incident even made the rounds on late-night television, with hosts Jimmy Kimmel and Stephen Colbert offering up sarcastic comments. But under the sarcasm was an undeniable reality. Whoopi Goldberg's reputation was on the line. As the FBI left Whoopi Goldberg's mansion, they made no public announcements. No indictments, no charge announcements, and no descriptions of the enigmatic box they had confiscated were made. They kept their lips sealed, only adding to the intrigue. Fans of Whoopi worried that this could mark the end of her illustrious career. Advertising contracts, film offers, and even her role on The View hung in the balance as the investigation unfolded. Meanwhile, her detractors reveled in the chaos. Some critics began posting mocking articles, suggesting this was retribution for her past controversial statements. However, Whoopi Goldberg was not one to be easily defeated. Just days after the raid, she broke her silence during a special episode of The View. Appearing before the audience with a calm demeanor, her eyes betrayed a simmering anger. "I know what y'all are saying. I've heard everything. But let me be very clear. I have nothing to hide." Though she did not go into details regarding the investigation, her message was clear. She would not let this incident ruin her career or reputation. But would her words be enough to end the churning rumors? The FBI had not yet released information regarding the investigation, and so the mystery hung in the air. The urgent questions lingered. What was really going on? And more importantly, could Whoopi Goldberg ride out the storm? A thick silence shrouded Whoopi Goldberg's opulent mansion as the FBI agents pressed on with their search. The faint light of their flashlights lit up every nook, every bookshelf, and every carefully placed painting. But what they were looking for was not in the open. It was hidden deep within the secrets of the mansion. As the search continued, an agent caught sight of something unusual on the wall behind the office. There was a small, almost imperceptible groove along the bottom of the wall. It seemed to be a typical decorative flourish at first glance, but when an agent accidentally touched it, a click echoed in the silent room. The whole task force stood stock still, their gazes fixed on the wall. One of the agents, who was skilled at discovering secret rooms, bent down and felt along the groove. There was another click, followed by a sudden movement. A portion of the wall slid open, and a tiny door appeared, not marked on the blueprints of the mansion. The agents looked at each other, their faces etched with uncertainty. No one had an idea what was behind the door. In a moment of tension, they gripped their guns, ready for anything. The door slowly opened, and they saw a dimly lit passage that went down to a dark basement. The air was filled with dust, and it smelled musty as if no one had been there for years. They entered. The secret room was different from all the other rooms in the mansion. It lacked natural light, containing only dusty wooden shelves and an ancient table at the middle. What caught the agent's eyes most, however, were the neatly piled metal boxes in one corner. Each box was tightly sealed, seemingly undisturbed for years. An agent opened the first box, revealing a collection of old documents, many marked confidential. Some papers had yellowed with age, yet their contents remained intact. Another agent flipped through the documents and immediately recognized familiar names, powerful figures in the entertainment industry and politics. And yet the most jarring find wasn't the letters themselves, but an object lying at the bottom of one of them. A faded, handwritten letter, written on thick, parchment-like paper, wax sealed with red. This letter had been there for decades, perhaps even longer. What really surprised the FBI was the sender. The seal had a unique symbol, an emblem that had been used in a high-profile case the FBI had never cracked. The lead agent picked up the letter gingerly, studying every line of the handwriting. The full name of the sender was not signed, but a portion of the letter exposed a vital hint. If this letter is found, it means the truth was never meant to be known. The language was cryptic and enigmatic, as though addressed to the future or possibly as a warning. But the burning question was, how did this letter find its way into Whoopi Goldberg's home? From the wax seal and the contents of the letter, the FBI suspected it was connected to an old case, one that had never been publicly disclosed. Internal sources suggested that this case was connected to one of Hollywood's greatest scandals, a disappearance, a secret kept by the powerful. The most serious question hung: did Whoopi Goldberg have any knowledge of the existence of this secret room? Did she have knowledge of these secret documents, or had she inadvertently acquired them? The FBI knew they couldn't assume. These papers might be the key to solving a long-dormant case, or the key to revealing a truth that many wanted to remain hidden. But one thing was for sure: the investigation was far from over. The news of the secret room leaked out fast. Media sources scrambled to cover the latest news. FBI discovers secret vault in Whoopi Goldberg's mansion. What was she hiding? Speculation varied from reasonable to outlandish conspiracy theories. Some believed that Whoopi Goldberg could have important information regarding a Hollywood secret, while others proposed a more extensive conspiracy was involved. No matter what the story was, Whoopi Goldberg was no longer a well-known actress. She had become the center of one of the greatest enigmas that the FBI had ever faced. The most immediate question still wasn't answered. What did the letter really mean? And where would it take the FBI? As the FBI pressed on with their investigation, they started putting together pieces from the documents within the secret room. It all appeared to point to a remarkable hypothesis. Could Whoopi Goldberg be involved in a shocking case from Hollywood history? When the FBI opened the sealed documents, they found that most were not just personal documents. Some had letters between Whoopi Goldberg and powerful people in the entertainment business, directors, producers, and executives of powerful companies. One name in the list stood out, however: Howard L. Emerson. Although not a household name with the public, Emerson was a legendary figure within investigation circles. An extremely influential producer of films from the 1970s to the 1990s, he had simply disappeared from Hollywood. His last known appearance made in 1994, a few days before a major studio financial scandal blew up. Word had spread that he had fled the United States, abandoning the industry completely. So why was Whoopi Goldberg corresponding with such an individual? One letter that especially interested the FBI was a 1993 handwritten letter from Whoopi. The letter included a chilling sentence. "I know what happened that night. If the truth comes out, we're all in trouble." Which night was she talking about, and what happened that night that caused her to be so worried? A second letter several months later also appeared to reassure, "They won't find anything, just stay quiet." These letters had suggested conspiracy, but the FBI had yet to establish the letter's true context. Continuing to sort through the documents, one piece of evidence started to explain the situation. An ancient VHS tape titled "Do Not Watch Private" was found among the materials. The agents immediately brought the tape to the lab for scanning, looking forward to revealing what it contained. Even the roughness of its surface, on simple inspection, hinted that if there was something of value within, it had been concealed for 40 years. It wasn't until the FBI investigated more deeply that they found Whoopi Goldberg had close ties with some influential individuals within the film community during the early 1990s and late 1980s. Those individuals included people whose names had been speculated upon to be the central figures involved in a top scandal, a story that had become lost or overlooked by the press with the passing of time. In 1991, a young actor had disappeared from Hollywood after accusing a high-profile figure of impropriety. The case was quickly hushed up, and the accuser's name was never made public. Now the FBI was left to wonder, did Whoopi Goldberg have information about this case? Was she somehow involved, knowingly or unknowingly? And most crucially, were the papers discovered in her house the solution to reopening this long-forgotten case? When word of the documents in the mansion reached the public, the mood of the people started to change. Whoopi Goldberg's devoted fans, who had stood by her for years, were left trying to make sense of the new information. Some wondered if she could have been unwittingly caught up in a previous event, while others thought she was hiding something big and the FBI search was only the beginning of revealing the truth. The FBI now had a mountain of papers that could change the public's view of Whoopi Goldberg. What was on the VHS tape? Were the letters really attached to a scandal of huge proportions? And if the facts came out, what would be the effect on Whoopi Goldberg's career and image? One thing was certain, the probe was far from complete, and what the FBI would find next could turn everything on its head. The raid on Whoopi Goldberg's estate not only sent shockwaves throughout Hollywood, but also set off a flurry of conjecture throughout the media universe. A myriad of questions swirled. What was she hiding? Were the documents seized related to a scandalous secret? And why did the FBI move with such speed? For days, people were left wondering. But then, in the midst of chaos, Whoopi Goldberg finally opened up about the issue, and what she disclosed left everyone amazed. In a private interview on one of America's top-rated television programs, Whoopi came across as calm but determined. When the host asked her about the raid, she inhaled deeply, looked straight into the camera and said, "Listen, I woke up one morning with the FBI in my living room. If you think that's a fun way to start your day, you're very wrong." Right from the beginning, Whoopi indicated that she was not going to take a back step on the matter. When asked about the strange documents the FBI had confiscated, she laughed and said, "They discovered some old letters, some film scripts, and it seems a lot of history books. I suppose I should have advised them that I'm a collector." She kept insisting that the papers in the secret room were nothing to worry about. They were simply a personal archive, a collection of her 4 decades of service. But the biggest surprise was when she explained the secret room not as a repository of sensational secrets, but as a personal museum. "I've always been interested in Hollywood history, particularly the things people forget. That room was just my little collection of things I found interesting over the years." Whoopi stated that the exchanged letters with Howard L. Emerson were merely film scripts, discussions on projects that failed to come together. "We discussed movies which never got produced, stories too provocative for their era. That's all. No crime, no conspiracy, just 2 passionate people about the cinema." But the interview did not end without broaching the question of a conspiracy against her. When asked if she thought the raid was an orchestrated attempt to take her down, Whoopi hesitated for a moment before answering with a mysterious smile. "Let's just say Hollywood is full of surprises. Some people don't like it when you ask too many questions." This announcement sparked a fresh round of speculation. Who was behind the probe? Was someone intentionally targeting Whoopi Goldberg to discredit her? Industry insiders started leaking rumors that the FBI had been tipped off anonymously and that this led to the raid on Whoopi's estate. But who was behind this information, and why did they want to bring Whoopi Goldberg into such a scandal? After the interview, public opinion grew more polarized. Some thought Whoopi was completely innocent, a victim of a misunderstanding or even a political conspiracy, but many remained suspicious. Why would the FBI raid her mansion if everything was so clear-cut? And most of all, was there something that Whoopi Goldberg had not yet revealed? Even with her seemingly credible story, too many questions were left unexplained. The VHS tape found in the hidden room was unreleased. Was it just an old movie, or did it hold something that would change the direction of the investigation? The answer was nowhere to be found, and maybe this was only the start of a much greater mystery. In the aftermath of the incident, a wave of intense reactions from studios, peers, and fans reconfigured the entertainment universe. Whoopi Goldberg, a film icon and one of Hollywood's legends, now stood in the eye of an unprecedented tempest. Could she weather it, or would this be an irreparable blot on her career? Less than a week after the raid, major studios moved decisively. A Whoopi Goldberg film project in the works was abruptly placed on hold indefinitely. A Hollywood source disclosed, "Studios are playing it safe. Nobody wants to be linked to controversy at this point." A documentary on Hollywood history that she was making lost its funding, with sponsors saying they needed to reevaluate the viability of the project. Even The View, the TV show on which Whoopi was a co-host, experienced a tense moment as some of its sponsors began to pull out. Hollywood is a practical business. When you're shining, the world takes notice. But when you get caught up in controversy, the business quickly turns its back. Whoopi Goldberg's dilemma was all over the media, and the creative community could not help but take notice. Some spoke out in her defense, asserting that the FBI's raid was unwarranted and unfounded. However, not everyone was supportive. Some industry figures adopted a cautious stance, avoiding any mention of Whoopi Goldberg in interviews. Even fellow co-workers who had worked with her before quietly removed past posts concerning her on social media. Evidently, not all of them were willing to risk their reputation to defend her. Whereas Hollywood was polarized, the public opinion was also divided. A group of fans thought Whoopi Goldberg was the victim of a grand conspiracy, that the FBI had crossed the line and did not have strong evidence. But others were uncomfortable. The questions left unanswered, the secrets surrounding the documents seized, and the FBI's refusal to issue an official conclusion made it hard for them to wholeheartedly defend Whoopi. Public opinion was divided, and this division made Whoopi Goldberg's position more vulnerable than ever. While Hollywood was abuzz with rumors, the FBI was quiet. There were no official statements, no fresh news, and no updates on the investigation. This quiet only added to the intrigue. Was the FBI about to issue a major announcement, or had they come to the conclusion they had been working on the wrong tip and were looking for an exit strategy? A media critic noted, "Sometimes silence is more dangerous than words. If the FBI doesn't clarify soon, people will start filling in the blanks themselves." In fact, with no answers, wild speculation soon ran rampant. Some tabloids even implied that a sinister element in the entertainment community was trying to topple Whoopi Goldberg. Whether or not this was true, one thing was certain. Whoopi Goldberg's reputation hung precariously in the balance. The greatest question now was whether Whoopi Goldberg would survive this shock. Hollywood has seen many stars descend into oblivion after great scandals, but it has also seen some who bounce back, coming out stronger in the face of adversity to still shine. Whoopi Goldberg is a strong woman, a skilled actress, and one of the most powerful players in the world of entertainment. But would all that be enough to enable her to weather this storm? Only time would answer. One thing for sure, the story was long from over. The FBI discovered something they hadn't expected, but the largest question still awaited answer. What would this cost Whoopi Goldberg? A new book had opened, and people only saw the first page. The truth still went on coming out, and the next shock might be much worse. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe for upcoming videos.